World Down Syndrome Day. So March 21st passed. What that is a celebration of children, adults, those who have Down syndrome. This is their day. March, the third month, 21st day. Basically, 3 copies of the 21st chromosome. That's what it is. So we usually have 46 chromosomes. They have 47. So that's how that came about. Yeah, so I can't believe for Caleb, he's 7 years old now, and I'll never forget the day when, I kind of found out that potentially he might have Down syndrome. I remember I was working in the color lab at MAC, and my doctor called me up and asked, if I was sitting down, and I said, yeah, I'm sitting down now. Why, what's up? And she basically said that, I got the results from the ultrasound, and I've noticed that in his brain, the left ventricle is slightly enlarged than the typical. So I said, okay, what does that mean? And they said, well, usually it's a soft flag that potentially he may have Down syndrome, but it's not a concrete thing. So I said, okay, so now what, right? They said, well, I think it's best if you go to Mount Sinai and do some further testings just to further, confirm that. So I said, okay, that's fine. So we arranged that. So I remember hanging up the phone, and I just kind of sat there staring at the REM star that, it's a rolly thing in our lab. And I remember staring at that, and I was kind of taking in the news, and I didn't know how to take it. Then something just kind of told me, don't overthink, because who knows, maybe he might not have Down syndrome. Stop thinking. So sure enough, the time came. My ex and we went to Mount Sinai Hospital, and then I remember seeing the doctor, and I said, okay, doc, if I did the test, which is the amniocentesis, that's where that needle goes right through your stomach. I said, what's going to happen? What could potentially happen? And I'm 4 months pregnant. He says, oh, well, you can otherwise miscarry. You can otherwise deliver early. But you'll also find out whether he has Down syndrome or not. And I said, what? So he kind of paused, because he knew I was that's what the hell is that? So he simplified things. He said to me, if you found out your child has Down syndrome, right, what will you do with that information? Nice and simple. And I looked at him. I said, nothing. Then he looked back at me, and he says, well, then your baby's fine and you're fine. You don't have to do the test. Have a nice day. That's pretty much what he said. So I walked out thinking that, oh my God, that was simple. And then I took that all in. We drove home, processed it a little bit, and I said, yeah, I don't know if this child has Down syndrome or not. I don't know. But I'm going to continue on with the pregnancy. Exactly what I was going to say. That regardless, I'm going to keep the baby. And I knew something was off throughout the rest of the pregnancy, because he wasn't moving like he usually, like his older brother was doing. This one slept a lot. He didn't move, and I would dance and I would play loud music. I would do like stuff just to shake the kid up. And this kid would not move. Probably just like a little, and that's it. But nothing compared to Kathan. So I didn't want to go on the internet. I didn't want to read up on shit because I didn't want to screw up my head. And I swore that if he has, then, I'll deal with it. And then sure enough, I had C-section. Caleb came out. He hardly cried. And when he did cry, it was so faint. It was so faint. So I knew something was wrong. And then all of a sudden, everyone just left me for a good, 5-10 minutes. And I'm like, going, what the fuck? What's going on? They come back, and then, they did their thing with Kale. They put Kale on me for a little bit. And I looked at him like a typical Asian kid. And I said, I think everything's fine. And then they took him away. They put him in the incubator and whatever, because he had a little bit of jaundice and whatever. They did all their tests and they had to get that all straightened out. So he was actually a little preemie as well. Well, 4 pounds and 10 ounces. And they took him into the pod, and I would visit him ever so often, and his daddy. And, we'd monitor him. And I'm like, okay, so did you find out whether he has Down syndrome? Like, what's the deal? And nobody can give us a firm answer until about, I think, 2 weeks in. And I remember even a day before that, the nurse says, Christine, come with me. And then he kind of held out Caleb's palm. And he noticed there was like a line that went right through. And they call that a simian crease. And she says, yeah, that's usually a soft flag that potentially he has Down syndrome. And then I said, really? He goes, but mind you, normal people can have it too. It's a very small percentage, I think like less than 1%, but it's still possible. So I had that in the back of my head. So I was somewhat prepared that once we get the firm results from the lab, it won't be as shocking. But sure enough, when we did get the results, talked to the doctor, John and I, we sat down, he confirmed that he has Down syndrome. And man, I cried like there's no tomorrow. And I don't know, it wasn't necessarily because of him having Down syndrome. It's more like what is the severity of it? Like, my poor little guy, I hope I can help him out. I hope I could be, that mom that can get him through whatever struggles he's going to be going through. And I was more worried about that. And looking at myself, like, can I handle this kind of thing? And I said, fuck yeah, definitely I can handle it. So I remember going home telling my parents and the family about the news and all that. And I remember my father saying, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. They're good. They're good. So I trusted it. And it still never sat 100% at that point. But after a while, after spending time with them, it was like, yeah, I can handle this, I'm going to make sure he's going to be loved. I'm going to make sure I'm going to get him through whatever he needs to get through, and we're going to be happy. And I made sure of that. So that was our journey with little Caleb. And 7 years later, he's such a little monster. He's got quite the personality. He makes us laugh all the time. He's quite the joker. He's a fashionista. He has to choose his clothing because, God forbid, I choose the wrong shirt. He will drop on the ground and just like, no, don't want that, Mom. It's cute. It's actually really cute. I love it when he's he's testy and you know, challenging for me because, yeah, he's a kid. He's supposed to. Right? So I love it. But anyways, I'm rambling on. That's my little story about Caleb. For those who have Down syndrome or children with Down syndrome, I hope you had a beautiful, beautiful day. Definitely, it's a day that we need to celebrate. We're a part of such a special group, and I'm so happy to be part of this group because, yeah, such beautiful souls. Honestly, such beautiful souls, and I wish typical, normal, whatever normal is, human beings can learn from them, because man, I've never experienced so much evil stuff out there, you know, and more so as I'm getting older, and it's so sad, but I don't want to allow that to take the best out of me. So I'm still going to be optimistic and try to be positive and be all fun and blah blah blah, because screw them, screw the people who are just, ugh, I don't want that near me. Anyways, we should learn from them. I love them. I love all of them. Such beautiful souls. And that's it. So that's all I have to say. That's a wrap. Peace out.